A girl of 17 and two boys aged 16 and 17 have died after a crush at a St Patrick's Day party in County Tyrone. Police believe there was a crush at the front door of the Greenvale Hotel in Cookstown, where the event was taking place, and that some people fell to the ground. Our Ireland correspondent Emma Vardy reports.
Last night, confusion and disbelief over how a group of young people trying to enter a disco ended in disaster.
Terrible, just chaos. Young ones, hysterical, and just the whole night is, I just can't believe what has happened.
Just after 9:30, emergency services were called to reports of casualties outside the hotel. It was soon declared a major incident. One of the teenagers died at the scene, two died later in hospital.
Absolutely stunned and shocked. There we have people out enjoying themselves on St Patrick's Night, and it ends up in tragedy.
The hotel had been hosting a party to celebrate St Patrick's Day. Police believe a crowd outside had been pushing to get in, but are still trying to work out exactly what happened.
Our preliminary investigations show that there was a crush towards the front door of this hotel, and in that crush people seem to have fallen. And we're examining now to see if the people who have fallen are those who were deceased. There seems to have been a little bit of struggling going on to get people up off the ground, and that might explain also why there was a report of some fighting.
Officers think there were a few hundred people waiting outside the party when the incident happened, and they're now relying on eyewitness accounts to try to establish why some teenagers ended up on the floor, and looking at CCTV from outside the hotel.
There's a deep sense of shock in the community here, a deep sense of loss, and our first thoughts and prayers are with the families of those who have lost their children last night. 3 young people have lost their lives so tragically, and I can't even fathom as a parent how those families are feeling this morning.
Youth centres have opened their doors to offer teenagers counselling, and there are calls to look at what lessons can be learned from this tragedy.
And we can speak to Emma now. Emma, what more do we know about the event at this hotel and about how it was organised?
Well, police say they don't believe this was an event specifically for young people. So police are also looking at how under 18s came to be there. And clearly there's going to be a lot of questions about how this event was advertised and how that crowd outside was being managed. Now, we understand a number of people, young people arrived last night when they were dropped off on buses. And as soon as reports of the accident emerged, police began appealing for parents to contact their children and to come and collect them. It was, of course, by all accounts, an extremely distressing experience for all of those young people involved. There was one teenager who spoke to a local paper last night describing how he was pinned to the ground, unable to get up for some time after that crush happened. Now, we've also been hearing from the emergency services this morning who've described how it was immediately clear when they arrived that there were serious injuries and that they tried to resuscitate casualties here at the scene. Now, we haven't yet heard anything official from the hotel itself. We do also know there's a number of pieces of video and photos, as you might expect, that were taken last night. Police have appealed to people not to upload those to social media, but to bring them forward to officers so that they can help with the investigation. Rita.
We are all deeply shocked and saddened by the traumatic events of last night. We offer our heartfelt sympathies to the families and the friends of the 3 young people who have lost their lives. Our thoughts are also with those who have been injured or affected in any way by this tragedy. The management and staff are assisting the police in their investigations, and I would like to place on record our appreciation for the speedy response of the emergency services to last night's terrible events. Thank you.
In Cookstown, Northern Ireland, police are investigating the deaths of 3 teenagers at a St Patrick's Day party in a hotel. 2 17-year-olds and a 16-year-old died, while another 16-year-old girl remains in hospital. The police service in Northern Ireland said people may have fallen and got crushed as the crowd pushed towards the door at the event. Our chief correspondent, Alex Thompson, is there. Alex.
Yes, well, as is the way, people who obviously would have known some of these three young people and those injured last night, bringing flowers to the memorial shrine here, beginning to grow. In the past, I mean, it's an extraordinary event, as unlikely as it is tragic here in rural County Tyrone for something like this to happen, and of all days on St Patrick's Day. Well, in the last couple of hours, the police have released the names of the three teenagers who were killed. We've got some pictures of them now, I believe, and they are the young girl there, Lauren Bullock. She was 17. All three of these students were students from Dungannon, not far away. She was well known in the local cheerleading club. She was described as one of the leading stars of their sky. Connor Curry, he was just 16. He was a player in the local GAA team, the Gaelic football team. And Morgan Bernard, 17, he's the young student there with the glasses. He was described as a well-mannered lad who had a warm and happy smile for everyone he came across. An extraordinary description in words today from one of the teenagers who was caught up in this. She described suddenly being swept off her feet onto other bodies, fighting to come up for air, as she put it, while she recognised that people just a few feet away in the crush, completely and innocently, forgivably unaware of the awful events unfolding at the front of that queue. Equally, people inside the hotel, the staff, the bouncers, just feet away, quite forgivably, no idea what had suddenly and horribly unfolded.
It was not supposed to end like this. A St Patrick's Day celebration, one of the most anticipated nights of the year, ending here, it appears, with three teenagers trampled to death. And all this at a hotel disco in Cookstown in rural County Tyrone. Between 9 and 10 last night, as buses dropped off partygoers, the crowd at the door of the Greenvale Hotel had risen to several hundred. Among them, Kyra Coyle.
Everybody was just sort of pushing, trying to get through us in the middle of it, while everybody was on the ground. And the big circles must have been about 10, 15 people on the ground.
Just lying on the ground, being trampled?
Yeah, tramped all over. And it was getting worse, so I just backed off from it. And I've got a couple of cuts on my elbow, but that's it.
Police say a 17-year-old girl and two boys aged 16 and 17 died, one at the scene, two later in hospital. Dilta McKee was also there.
Sort of like a nightmare. Just didn't see it coming. Just for like a local place that everyone goes out to and enjoys themselves, to see that there come from that was horrible. Everyone was sort of packed in because everyone started pushing in, trying to get into the Greenvale. So then, like, it just sort of like once someone fell to the ground, then everyone was separated. The police were rung and everyone was just evacuated.
For parents, the worst of nightmares. Dilta's mother never imagining that something like this could happen in such a familiar place.
It's just a nightmare. It's just like the Greenvale is somewhere that I grew up with. It's a safe place, you know. It's one of those places where you send them out to and you think that they're going to be fine.
Police still need to establish exactly what took place last night and have encouraged people who were at the scene to come forward for what will be a complex investigation.
And we need people here to come forward now and tell us what happened last night. 3 young people are dead. They deserve a full inquiry. Their parents need to know what happened to them, and it's our job now to establish that. And the only way to do that is for all those who were involved last night to come to us and talk to us about it.
Police have appealed throughout the day for anyone with any photos or videos of what happened here last night to upload them to the police website and not put them on any social media platforms. Alex Thompson, Channel 4 News, Cookstown.